Approaching the 2025-26 SCAC Swimming and Diving Media Days. Today, we're taking a dive into the Austin College men's and women's swimming and diving programs. The Roos will be led as they head into the season under the guidance of head coach John Schimming, along with leadership from seniors Tim Smith on the men's side and Lola Barcus-Schafer on the women's side. And Coach Tim, Lola, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for letting us on.
Coach, we'll open things up with you. It was announced back in July, your hiring, taking over as the head coach of these two programs. I'm interested just, how has this transition process been for you kind of since that announcement coming into this season? What excited you about this opportunity? And ultimately, just how excited are you to be here at the start of these two new seasons and getting things underway?
I think the transition has been as smooth as it can be, right? I think that I spent a lot of the beginnings, of my contract just kind of, I guess, for lack of a better term, trying to keep my head above water, trying to, catch up on the things that needed to be caught up. But I think we're at a pretty good spot right now. As far as administratively goes, training wise, I think the transition has been, really good. I think this is a great group, and I'm excited to get to work with them. And they seem like they have been kind of taking on this transition, head on and really kind of, buying into what I'm trying to do here. So I think it's really good, and I'm very excited to see what this group has in store for us this year.
Tim, every year is an exciting season, especially at this point of the year, kind of the newness of a year. And for you as one of the senior leaders, Coach talks about that transition process. I'm interested from a student athlete's perspective, what has Coach Schimming brought into this program? How has that transition gone? And just, how excited are you to get this senior year underway?
Right. I can tell you already in the last 2 months, we have seen a lot of improvement in our team. It's become an extremely close-knit group, one that is really motivated by what our coach offers, and something that we're actually seeing a lot of improvement of in our swim. We're seeing a lot of focus on how we can improve our technique in ways that I don't think any coach has brought yet. And we've seen a lot of that individualism in what our races are and how we can improve specifically those races rather than just swimming in general. And that's something that I can tell you is really appreciated by the team.
Well, it's kind of a similar, question in terms of your excitement coming into this senior year. I'm interested just from the women's team perspective. I'm looking for a vibe check. How's the vibe of this group going into the season? How is the team chemistry with this team, both, in and out of the pool? And just how excited are you to get this senior year underway?
Yeah, the vibe was good. I'll tell you, the vibe check, we all passed. We had a great group of freshmen come in, and the team that we've, over the years, as seniors, juniors, sophomores, we've been able to build that chemistry so we can all welcome them into the team, and they just can add on to that chemistry. On the girls' side, we're very motivated. We're very excited. Hanging out with the girls inside and out of swim is the best way to create that swim bond, and we just continue to do that, and we're really excited.
Coach, I'm interested what the first impressions you had of these two groups, kind of as you started to get to know these teams. What have you learned about these two teams? And, what's kind of been your early message early on, key things that you're hoping these two teams kind of listen to as you start to build your foundation and sort of set up this first season going into the year?
Yeah, well, I guess first impressions wise, I think coming in, is that, this group has gone through a lot of changes over the last couple of years. I'm pretty much their third head coach in the last 3 years. So really the message that I was trying to send is, hey, I want to, one, get us into shape, and two, let's just keep the environment. Let's just maintain a good, healthy, a positive environment throughout the practices, and try to build some consistency with things, trying to build some consistency with how, we communicate, with how, we do things as a program, with how we do things as a team. So those are kind of just the, what I've been trying to lay as far as a foundation for the last month or so goes. And then, going forwards, really, I just kind of want to continue with, that consistency, and with myself, making sure that I am, being a consistent force amongst the team, and that, they can always come to me with anything that they need, whether it's swimming related or not.
Tim, from a team perspective, what are you looking forward to most coming into this season? And, how would you describe the identity of this men's program going into the year?
I tell you that this team is really focused on development. We are all looking for how we can better ourselves in different ways in our individual races. And we're trying our best to see that kind of improvement. And you can kind of see that in the mindsets of a lot of the guys here. A lot of us are looking to just try our best with the resources we got and our amazing new coach and just push ourselves to new heights. That's what we're looking for this season.
Lola, what is motivating this group on the women's side, coming into this year? And what areas have you seen, just in terms of improvement early on here in these first couple of weeks of this season, getting prepared to ramp up into the year?
I think the biggest motivators are ourselves. We motivate each other the most. Whether it's like, just swimming in practice, splitting the lane, swimming against each other, doing sprint sets, like actual races in practice, time trials, whatever it is, the best motivators is yourself, your coach, and your team. And so far, I've seen that throughout everything, whether it's swimming or dry land, like weights practice. We've just been able to really just be able to like help each other become the best swimmer we can be. Definitely mindset. I feel like it's easy to get back into swim shape, but it's not easy to get back into the mindset of swimming after such a long break, because swimming is really a mind game. Like, it's a very hard sport, but also it's very hard on your mind. I've seen it's easy to burn out, but so far everyone's been super motivated. No one's been like down in the gutters or whatever, just in their mindset wise. And then definitely dry land. This is probably the best practices in like outside of the water I've ever been to, and actually seeing people like trying and not getting hurt and like doing what they're supposed to be doing and like actually improving in the weights and stuff.
Coach, it's fun to hear the excitement in these two student athletes and just what they have to look forward to going into their senior years. How would you describe, the culture and energy of these two programs going into the year, and how can those things be a real asset for these two teams heading into the season?
Well, it's probably the most important asset that we have right now is kind of our team chemistry and our team environment. That's one of the things that, I really want to kind of build, as we go years, beyond, just this season. We always want to be, creating an environment where people feel supported and are held accountable to the goals that they set for themselves and for the team. And, me, myself, I'm trying to kind of create an environment where, people are motivating each other in the sense that, they know that their teammates' success is just as important as their own. Okay, because in swimming, it's a team sport, and every time you step up onto the blocks, you're the one that is now driving the team towards its goals, towards its success. So, in order to do that successfully, you got to have that support system behind you, and you got to have people who want you to be successful just as much as you do.
Finally, as we wrap up with our two student athletes, Tim and Lola, I'm interested just in kind of some team goals that you both have for these two groups going into the season. And also, when fans and classmates and students across campus hear Austin College swimming and diving, what do you hope that they associate when they hear that about these two teams?
I'm thinking when it comes to what we want to be seen as, we want to be seen as like an energetic group that's hardworking, always striving for a goal and always trying our best to achieve it. And just seen as like a friendly group of people that are really easy to get along to. That's what I think we're looking for. Something that's open, something that can kind of bridge a gap between those that don't really know much about swimming and those that are involved every single day for 4 hours.
Definitely. Like Tim said, a lot of my friends don't know even like that swimming's a sport. So over the years, I've been introducing to them, and we really just like want to be seen also as a supportive team. A team that supports other sports. We go to other games and whatnot, so that people also come to our meets and stuff. Yeah. And then goals, of course, are always to go fast. Yeah. But more important goals are to not burn out, to keep the good chemistry the entire time, to keep a respectful relationship between swimmers and coach, and just to be the best team we can be. We've been through a lot, like you said. Me and Tim are some of the only ones who have been through all of that. As seniors, and so it's been really rewarding to see the program grow, and I can tell that this year is like going to be the best year.
Finally, Coach, as we wrap up with you, it is really an exciting time in this program, a special time. You have just one shot at this first year, so when you've sort of closed your eyes, taken some inventory, and thought about this season with these two programs, what are some expectations, some goals? What are things that you hope sort of unfold that will make these first years successful in your mind going into the season?
Well, one, I really kind of want to make sure that, everybody is kind of on the right track of improvement. We want to, I want everybody to come away from this year, knowing that what we've done is going to work and is going to be successful, and they're going to be successful because of it. And ultimately, this is kind of my, this group right here is kind of my team zero, so to speak, where they are the ones that are going to be kind of setting the standard and then setting the expectations for years to come. So, I'm very proud of what this group has been able to do. I'm proud of these guys. These guys are very good leadership figures on the team. And it's always great to kind of have them around and kind of have them, keep these two teams going. I rely on these guys a lot. So.
Austin College head men's and women's swimming and diving coach John Schimming, along with leadership from seniors Tim Smith and Lola Barcus-Schafer. Coach Tim, Lola, thanks so much for your time today, and best of luck as you march forward throughout the rest of the 2025-26 campaign.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.